Good morning and welcome back to Bald Feather Bets, everyone. We'll do a quick recap of Friday Night Football and then lay out all of our plays for College Football Saturday today. We've given you a lot of these already. I think we're adding a couple. So first, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel, notifications on. Give this video some love, like, share, comment. We'll never charge for these picks. Just want to help grow the channel. So Friday night we were 4-0. We start off with Clemson +3 for 2 units. That hit. They won the game by 1, 20-19, mainly off of some terrible timed kicking woes for Louisville. But that line was off. That was definitely a wrong team favored line on that one. Clemson is still, significantly more talented than Louisville is, and they've been at least showing up to the stadium recently. That's the way I would describe it. I wouldn't say they're playing competent football. I would say that, unlike the beginning of the year, they are actually physically arriving at the stadium on the team bus. So when they do that, then they have a chance. Then in the night game, we had Oregon minus the 24.5 for 2 units, and that also hit. I was pretty much right about the way the game went. Minnesota did show a little bit more fight in getting those 2 field goals and that 1 touchdown than I kind of thought, but it didn't matter because Oregon got to 42. So once Oregon got to 42, Minnesota was at 13, so then it's a 29-point game, and they covered all the numbers. I think I saw that thing get as high as 26.5, as close up to kickoff. So they covered any number anyone got. So good on Oregon and Dan Lanning. So now we are into College Football Saturday. We are 529, 351, and 20 on the year. Let's hope we have another positive day today to keep adding to our positive days. So starting off in the early window, we are laying the 12 with Notre Dame, and we're going to do that one for 5 units. So a lot has been made of this Pitt rush defense. Maybe. I need to see them do it against a real... It's funny that they're playing Notre Dame. It reminds me a lot of Notre Dame's pass defense last year. Remember, we kept telling you, hey, it's not near as good as the statistics are saying. It's a bit of a farce. It's a bit of a farce. And then they played a real pass offense in USC, and they got torched for like 500 yards through the air. I don't necessarily believe this Pitt run defense is real. I don't think they're like the 3rd best run defense in the country. I think they haven't really played anyone who can test it. And they're about to play Notre Dame today, and Price and Love are going to rip through it like it's paper. Also, though, in backup plan, in case they do struggle on the ground, their pass defense is not that great, and Notre Dame has quite the capable pass offense. I wouldn't use the word prolific, but I would say quite capable, especially with C.J. Carr at the helm. And then on the flip side of this whole thing, Pitt's magical run really started when they made that QB switch. He also hasn't really played anybody. I think this will be a little bit of a different test for him with how this Notre Dame defense has been playing latter-ish half of the season. Hasn't been like the full half of the season over the past few weeks. How this Notre Dame defense has been playing over the past few weeks, where they've really started to put stuff together. So much of that, guys, is healthy Leonard Moore versus not healthy Leonard Moore. So Leonard Moore is the best corner in the country. He's probably the best secondary player in the country. He's one of the best corners I've ever seen, play football. He does so much for you because he's so versatile in terms of man and zone. He frees up multiplicity on your defense. And when you can be multiple on defense, then you can attack in so many different ways. And it gives Freeman so many different options based on what type of offense he's playing that week. When he doesn't have more, that defense changes very quickly because it can only then use essentially a few concepts because it has to cover up for a few issues they have on the back end. But more is essentially their secret weapon. He's to their defense what Caleb Downs was to Knowles' 4.25 last year in different ways, completely different things. But he's like the key that unlocks everything. So we like Notre Dame. Jesus Christ. We like Notre Dame minus. Sorry, coffee. Oh God, that's just straight espresso. Notre Dame minus the 12 for 5 units. Northwestern plus 13 for 5 units. So this is another one where, in theory, Michigan should run for about 750 yards. But I don't necessarily know if they're going to. So Michigan is playing much better on the offensive line. They do miss Justice Haynes today, but I actually think a little bit's being, I think we're making a little bit too much of that one. Whether Haynes is in or whether Haynes is not in, you need to look at Michigan's essentially yards and points equalization. So Michigan's offense has been gaining more yardage. The offensive line is peaking, and they are playing competent-ish defense. It isn't actually really translating, though, to points. It's a phenomenon that happens to a few teams each year in terms of like when they break through. We move the ball, then it's okay, we're moving the ball and we're scoring. Most of the time with issues in the red zone, depending on the type of team. It's weird that Michigan is having some of those struggles because they should, in theory, be a more struggle to move the ball, but very much so can score when they get it down. And I do think a lot of that is Underwood on third down just being a little inconsistent, which is normal because he's a true freshman. Northwestern is not a good run defense, but they've been very opportunistic this year, especially on third down, actually, in getting off the field. And they can score some. Like, they're not like a Northwestern team that's just completely relying on special teams and turnovers and stuff like that. They do have the ability to score a little bit. What we're looking for here is both of these teams are going to slow this game down. And so when we got the 13, it was just something we absolutely had to pounce on because that's just too many points. Like, we do the math thing here a lot, right? Like with the Jets, we told you over under 43.5, 13 points. Yeah, there's 13.5 points. Yeah, the Jets suck, but do the math on that and like you got to take the 13.5. I don't know what the over-under is closing at on this Michigan Northwestern game, but I know it's not high. It's in the 40s. So do the math, and it's like that's just too many points for Northwestern. Whether I think they have a chance to win or not, it's just too many points. So Northwestern plus 13, 5 units. Then we get into the afternoon slate. We gave you guys Duke minus 5 for 3 units, and we're going to add Duke minus 3 for 2 more units to bring that to a total of 5 units. I don't understand this line. It's moving towards the Virginia side, and I guess it's because Chandler Morris is confirmed playing. I didn't think there was ever really a doubt he was going to play. It doesn't matter. Like, Virginia isn't good, and Duke is good. I don't understand this line. Duke has killed themselves with turnovers all year in like the most inopportunistic times ever. They're actually one of the best teams in the ACC in terms of like talent, ability, yards, all these things. Darian Mensah should tear through this Virginia defense like it doesn't even exist. Virginia's not a good football team, guys. Virginia's not a good football team. So I'm really not going to go too much more in depth into it than that. Like, we talked to you about Clemson, Louisville last night, and Louisville is not that great of a football team, but they're better than Virginia. Like, they're definitely better than Virginia. And this line at home, getting all the way down to a -3. I had to talk myself out of just coming over the top on this thing as soon as it hit -3. But I didn't want to do that. It's only like week 12 in college and week 11 in the NFL. I didn't want to get too wild here. So we just brought it up to 5 units. So we have the 3 units at -5, and we have the 2 units now at -3. It's probably my favorite play of the day, but I just don't see Virginia. Virginia's done a few things this year though, where I was like, well, fuck. I mean, good on you. You're still not any good, but good on you. Okay, Oklahoma plus 7.5 for 5 units. You guys can't get that anymore. So I hope you, took that one when I gave it out, because 7 is such a key number. I do kind of think Oklahoma's going to win outright. But if you didn't get it at 7.5 or at minimum 7, I wouldn't fuck with it. But I do kind of think Oklahoma's going to beat them outright. I see people making a lot of the whole, well, it doesn't matter that Oklahoma has a good run defense because we don't run the ball. No. Still matters. It still matters. You still have to be able to like show somewhat of a competent ability to hand the ball off and not get negative yardage. Because if you don't, then you essentially free up pass rush, and you free up linebackers to not have any respect for the run game, which then impacts the passing game. For as good as Alabama is, and for as good as Alabama has been, and they're phenomenal, it is pretty much all pass defense and pass offense. It's a decent matchup here for OU, who's been finding themselves on the ground game in the past couple of weeks. Mateer gets healthier every week. Mateer can run. As usual, Alabama struggles with mobile quarterbacks. They changed coaching staffs, and it's hilarious because that's like the one thing the Saban coaching staff wasn't good at. So you're like, okay, we're finally going to get a new coaching staff in here, and they're going to be able to defend mobile quarterbacks. And they can't fucking defend mobile quarterbacks either. I like this Oklahoma secondary, especially if R. Mason Thomas is healthy in the pass rush. I like them to win enough of these matchups against like Bernard and Williams on the outside. And Ty Simpson hasn't really had any games where he's pooped his pants since Florida State. I'm not expecting him to do that here, but is he going to have a game where he doesn't play like a Heisman candidate? Because as soon as that happens, then you're looking around at that Alabama offense and you're like, uh-oh, like what else do we have here? We don't really have anything else here because we can't run the ball at all. Like Ohio State struggles a little bit to run the ball. Alabama like can't run the ball. It's wild. Anyway, so Oklahoma plus 7.5 for 5 units. I wouldn't fuck with it if you didn't get it at 7.5 or 7. USC -6 for 5 units. This is probably my least favorite one of the day, but I do like it. So Iowa can play one game plan against any team that they play with an explosive offense. That game plan, we were on Iowa last week against Oregon, right? That game plan, in my opinion, was much more executable against Oregon than it is against USC, because Oregon is so boom or bust. Oregon is it's a 50-yard run or it's a 1-yard run, and there's like nothing in between. Hold on. Oh my God. Okay. USC is not that. USC has absolutely sustainable offense that they can put together, play after play, drive after drive, to where they have extensions of the run game and the pass game. They have weapons at the tight end position. They have one of the best ground attacks in the country. And yet people are saying, well, they still haven't figured out the physicality on defense. Okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that they're not an elite defense. I'm a big D'Anton Lynn supporter, and I said for a long time he didn't need to get them to be elite on defense. He needed to get them to not be one of the worst defenses in college football, and he's done that. They've gone from like being ranked in the hundreds to being ranked in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I think even the 40s in some categories. Crazy things happening at USC. So with that, okay, maybe Iowa can execute their offensive 3 yards in a cloud of dust game plan. But what happens when it's 7-0 USC? Instead of 3 yards, Iowa gets 2 yards on one play, has to punt, and then it's 14-0 USC. Then what is Iowa going to do? And this is different than when it was 9-0 Oregon, because they're not at home. People are saying, oh, it's raining out in South Carolina, so that gives the advantage to Iowa. No, it doesn't. Who gives a shit? The weather is still LA weather. Who gives a fuck that it's raining? Yeah, what does Iowa do then? Like, what does Iowa do when it's 14? So if this thing does not go Iowa's exact way at every step in the way, there is so many more ways which USC blows this game open than Iowa keeps this game close. Which with Oregon, there were so many more ways that Iowa kept that game close versus Oregon blowing that thing open. So I don't love it. It's probably my least favorite play of the day. Well, no, I'll tell you about my least favorite play of the day here in a second. We gave it out and I hate it. You guys shouldn't take it if you didn't already take it. But anyway, USC -6 for 5 units. Okay. That does it for the afternoon window, coming to the evening. Early evening, prime time, then late night. Pac-12 after dark vibes. Okay, so this is the one that I hate. If you didn't take it, I have Ole Miss -15.5 for 3 units. I told you guys we did that off of Intel for Florida opt-outs. Obviously, that didn't happen. Do not take this one if you didn't take it. I think Ole Miss is going to get beat straight up, honestly. I hope not. Hopefully they blow Florida out of the water and we cover this number because I care about my gambling record. But the way this line's moving and Lagway's going to play and all this stuff, I think Florida's going to beat Ole Miss today, straight up. So don't fuck with that. I'm not even going to talk about the game. So just, if you didn't take it, don't do it. If you are going to take it, obviously you can get it at like 10.5 now. But yeah, Ole Miss -15.5, 3 units. Okay, then Texas +6.5 for 5 units, and we touched 7, so we added Texas +7 for 3 units. So we're a total of 8 units leveraged on Texas. A lot is being made of Georgia owns Texas. Texas can't get over the Georgia hump. They played each other 2 times last year, and that's it. This isn't a multi-year thing. This isn't an Ohio State, Michigan thing. This isn't a Georgia, Alabama thing. This isn't an Oregon, Washington thing up until last year. Even the Oregon, Washington thing, that was 2 games in 1 year and 1 game the year before. The first game was absolutely Georgia wanted to figure out if Texas really could play at that type of physicality level, and Texas was not ready for it. Wasn't that they couldn't, because they came back the next game and they did. The second game was not that. The second game, Texas beat Georgia's ass in every aspect but the score. I think you're going to see a very inspired effort, especially from the Texas defense. What happens if this run game that Georgia has figured out, especially over the past 2 weeks, is slowed? I'm not going to say shut down, but nobody has ran on Texas since 2023. So yeah, since the 2023 team, last year's team, and this year's team, nobody runs on Texas. In 2023, you could throw on them. Now, last year, you couldn't really do anything on Texas. This year, when the secondary has been injured, you can throw on them, but they're back healthy again. So I do believe that Georgia's going to have success in the air in this game. I think they're too good. I think their skill position players are too good. I think Zachariah Branch is too good. I think Gunnar Stockton is too surgical in how he conducts the offense. I think Georgia has an argument that they have the number one offense in the country. That's why I like the JR guy actually quite a bit. I did a roundtable with him and Sam on College Football with Sam. But of that post that he's made that's gone viral, I would love to talk about it with him. The one that I could tear him up pretty good on is USC equals Georgia. Because Georgia has a better offense than USC, and USC isn't even in the same discussion as Georgia on defense. I think you're going to see Georgia get off the ball, and I think you're going to see them be surgical with the quick pass game. And I think it's going to give Texas fits, and I think Georgia's going to do really well with the tight ends against Texas's defense. If Texas slows down their run game, that's going to put enough wrinkles in the Georgia offense that you get off the field a few times on third down and you turn touchdowns into field goals. On the flip side of this, everyone is just kind of assuming that Texas is still going to struggle in this game on offense. Why? Why do people think that? When Texas has struggled on offense this year, it has been due to one thing, and it's been due to pass rush impacting the Texas offense. It's been due to defensive line owning Texas's offensive line and then putting Arch in unideal situations or run plays being for 2-yard losses instead of 2 or 3 yard gains. What about this Georgia defense makes you think that that's going to happen this game? They have one of the worst pass rushes in the country. I'm not saying that they can't flip a switch and turn it on. They have Georgia players. They have Georgia defenders. I'm not saying they can't do that. But why in this game do you all of a sudden think it will happen? Because quite honestly, Texas has been getting pretty good play out of the tackles not pretty good. They've been getting very good play out of the tackles the past couple weeks. If Arch has time in this game, which every indication is he will, after the strides that he's made the past few weeks, he's going to have a blowout moment on prime time. Like, Texas is going to score a lot of points. So then you get to a point of, well, 6.5 or 7 is just too many points for this game. The game should probably, if you get those things that I just talked about, then this game should be Georgia minus 3.5. Georgia should actually still be favored. They're probably going to win, but it'll be within a possession. If the way I see the game playing out is how the game plays out. And the cool thing about these SEC teams when they're playing each other at this point in the season, there isn't a lot of paper tigers there. You could argue you maybe have some with Texas A&M, but very rarely has an SEC team gotten to week 12 and they have something that's fake due to the fact that they've played a schedule which can't expose it. You could argue, like I said, that Texas A&M is that to an extent because of it's not their fault. All the tough games that they were supposed to play, those teams ended up having issues. And when they played Notre Dame was still going through all their defensive struggles, and they didn't have it figured out yet. That isn't Texas A&M's fault, but you could say, hey, there's some stuff here where they're not quite as good as you think they are. That's fair. With Texas and Georgia, that's not, like, they've played legit schedules, they've played legit opponents. You know what's real and what's not real about these teams. Same thing about Alabama and Oklahoma for the afternoon game. So you kind of know what you're getting, which is one of the reasons why I do like wagering on the SEC probably more than other leagues, because I feel that the statistical advantages that you can gain from insights is much more solid than, say, Pitt having the number 3 run defense. So anyway, Texas plus 6.5, 5 units, Texas plus 7, 3 units. And then in the late game, this is also one of my favorite plays of the day, because you guys know how much I like to fade the Mormons in Provo. TCU plus 5.5 for 5 units. If you didn't get it at 5.5 and you can only get it at 3.5 now, fine. TCU is going to beat about right. We continue to say, and we will continue to say, BYU is not a good football team. They were not a good football team last year. They're not a good football team this year. TCU plus 5.5, 5 units. All right, that's it. We will be back at you again tomorrow for NFL Sunday. We've given you every single pick so far. If you want to go back and rewatch all the other videos, we've given you everything for NFL Sunday tomorrow except for the Giants and the Packers. We are still monitoring a few things on that, especially when it comes to the Packers injury news. We know what we're getting in terms of the Giants injury news. We're getting a Jameis Winston game, which thank God. We deserve at least one Jameis Winston game every year. But we don't know some of those injuries that the Packers suffered against the Eagles, and a confirmation that they're all coming back. And that's really important because some of those were two, like, very, very key positions. So anyway, enjoy your College Ball Saturday. Stay safe. Enjoy this football weather. And let me know in the comments if you guys are riding with anything else, if there's anything else you're looking at. If we see anything move into a play window, we will get at you with a community post or an additional short for the day. But thank you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. Really appreciate the support we've gotten. I know it's still in triple digits and it's not, thousands or anything, but the subscriber number's going up, and I really appreciate it. Just keep doing what you can do to get the content out there. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Talk to you later.